First question from Chi Ying in PJ, and it says, how can I become more resilient? Right? So we learned the word resilient today, which means to recover quickly, right? To recover quickly. And one thing we need to know about gaining resiliency, because it's hard, because imagine you go through a really difficult time to bounce back up, right? To bounce back up quicker. And the thing we have to know is you're not going to start bouncing back quickly in the beginning, because hard times are hard times. Difficult times are difficult times. We have to, we got to understand this. But if you want to practice resiliency, then it has to be conscious in your mind. It really does. Which means that even with the smallest things, when you go through that small thing that's a little bit difficult, like, oh, darn it, why did that happen to me? But you have to be conscious and deliberate of, you know what? I got to be resilient. Okay. So even though it sucks right now, I got to have a better attitude, and, let's make the best of it. Let's just make the best of it. You have to practice resiliency step by step each and every time. I know it's like, well, so how can I practice it before it happens? It's hard to practice it before it happens, because if a hard time doesn't really happen, how do you practice resiliency? You can't. It's just gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's so difficult, right? You have to actually go through it. But during that time, you have to consciously say, you know what? I shouldn't be like this. Wow, this is hard. What should I do? Give yourself reminders. I got to be resilient. And you have to slowly, bit by bit, train yourself to be resilient, right? Which means that a lot of times, one thing I do suggest you to do is, it's good to train others first. When they go through it, you want to help them up. Why? Because when you help them up, when you go through difficult times, they're going to help you up so that you can become more and more resilient each and every time. It's something that has to be practiced by actually going through difficult times. But one thing I do suggest is help others, and they're going to help you, right? And your resiliency is going to get better and better and better, but it has to be conscious in your mind, right? Because when it's not conscious in your mind that I have to be resilient, you're just going to let yourself go, okay? Thank you, Chi Ying, all the way from PJ. Kelly from KL. My older sister is always top of the class, head girl, and the favorite student to all the teachers who taught her. Since I'm also going to the same school, says, teachers would always compare us. As much as I do not want to compare myself with her, the people around us are making it really hard for me. How can I stop comparing myself with others? Okay, so if anything else, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to feel the joy of celebrating with others. You have to have that joy. You got to understand how amazing that joy is. When someone says, oh, why could you be like your sister? I was like, wow, you know what? My sister's amazing. I love my sister. She's so great. Praise your sister. Praise her and lift her up and say, yeah, she's great. She's awesome, right? And you just got to say, I'm trying my best. But one thing you want to do is you want to praise. You want to encourage. You want to lift them up. And you want to feel the joy of celebrating with someone else that you love. And when you have this, it's very, very hard to hate, because you celebrate them. Because, there are some people in life, like great soccer players, and you celebrate them. And you don't compare. Why? Because you look up to them so much. Oh, why can't you be like Cristiano Ronaldo? Oh, no way. Why would I want to be like Cristiano Ronaldo? He's so good at soccer. He's so amazing. Oh, I love Cristiano Ronaldo. And when someone says, why can't you be like him? It's like, well, he's a professional, man. He's so good. I can't be like him, but man, I love this guy. He's so good. And what happens is there's always a positive vibe, and there's always this positivity coming out. And because you love your sister, praising her and encouraging her is better than anything else. And then it limits the hate towards, or, oh, why can't I be like her? Praise, celebrate together, right? And if anything else, when your sister hears about you celebrating her and you're always encouraging, you're always putting her up, you know what she does? She's going to put you up too. And she's going to even be the one that defends you. Praise, encourage, celebrate the win together. And this is something that's amazing for you. Later I could talk about this, but you have a certain chemical in your brain called serotonin and oxytocin. And these two chemicals are happiness chemicals. And what happens is when someone you love does something amazing, then you can feel it too. And that chemical just lights up in your brain also. You need to celebrate with them. That's one of the best things I can tell you is celebrate. And it's so hard to hate them, because you're constantly celebrating them all the time, okay? Thank you, Kelly from KL. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to Alan in KL. Alan KL says, due to the recent economic depression, Wow, these are long questions. Business isn't doing so well at my company, and the superiors are trying to lay people off. Okay, so they're trying to lay people. Okay, now me and another colleague are now being blamed because our client canceled the project we're working on. When suffering injustice at work, should I endure it to keep my job or voice out and risk being laid off? Okay, so when you say that you're being blamed for it and it's injustice, right? I'm assuming that you've done nothing wrong. That's what I'm assuming. Right? Because when you say there's injustice, you had nothing to do with the client, canceling the project, right? So that's what I'm assuming, okay? So now the second assumption I have now here, it says that should I endure to keep my job or voice out and risk being laid off, okay? So there's the thing. Right now is you already know that right now what's happening. Right now what's happening is your superiors are trying to lay off people, and now they're blaming you for this client like breaking it off, okay? So right now the situation is already not bad. So what you're saying is that because it's already bad, if I complain or say something bad against it, then it might make it riskier, which is true, okay? Which is true. So you have two things you can think about. You have two things to think about. Right? Because the risk of being laid off is very, very stressful already. You're already stressed, okay? Now, here's the thing. Should you speak up and say, oh, I didn't do it? Well, it's not a risk depending on how you speak to your bosses. Right? That's what it really depends on. If you go to the boss saying, I can't believe you told me this, and this, and you think it's my fault, this is injustice. Oh, if you're in America, be like, you're racist, right? And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh. It really depends on how you handle it. It really does. Right? It really depends on how you handle it. So how do you handle it? Well, if you sit down with your superiors and you say, oh, hey, just wanted to report about the situation. This is what happened during this time, and this happened, and this is why we feel that the client did this. So what you're doing is you're only stating facts, and you're not blaming anyone saying, oh, we're going through injustice, right? You're just giving the facts, right? And that is something that will allow the superiors to think about it too. Yeah, they may not think about it also, but you have to already know it's already a risk because they're trying to lay people off, and they've already pegged you and blamed you for what happened to that client. So if you think about that, it's already a risky situation. We're already stressed. To be honest, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where there's always this constant fear of being fired or laid off, right? So if there's something that's on your chest, it's better. I say it's best to bring it out, but bring it out properly, normally. Right? Just what are the facts? This is what happened. It shouldn't be like, hey, I heard you said that we're to blame because of this, but I disagree with you. Everyone has their own opinions, and everyone has from what they see. You just state what your side is, and it works out a lot better. Okay? Thank you, Alan from KL. Let's go to, who's next? Is it Yan Lan from KL? How can I stop preparing myself when my family keeps pushing me? How can I stop preparing myself? I'm not sure what that means. How can I stop preparing myself? Yan, can you be a little bit more? I'm not sure if that's what the question actually said. How can I stop preparing myself and my family? Okay, let's go to the next question, and I'll give Yan Lan. You can just kind of clarify what this means. Yeah. Okay, so it says, this is Ichigo in Korea. Sometimes I feel like I got things that I don't deserve, and it makes my shoulder heavy because I can't do any better. Is it okay for me to get what I don't deserve? Okay? And this is it. This is actually what the Bible verse was showing before in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19 through 20. If you get something you don't deserve and you endure it, then God looks at that as commendable. Right? Like if you think of it's almost like your story is Joseph's story. It is, right? Unfairly went to prison, unfairly got put into slavery, unfairly, like the Potiphar's wife lied. It's all things that he didn't deserve, right? He didn't deserve any of it. And in life, what they have to understand is because the world is a fallen world, and there are a lot of, there's good people, but there's also bad people in the world. And when you see that the way the world is, there are times we're going to get things we don't deserve. There are, right? what can we do? Especially Ichigo, if you're someone who believes in God, especially if you're someone who has faith, you have to understand is, if you can endure these times, these unfair times, you really feel it's unfair, then God will pay everything back. Now, I'm not saying paying everything back meaning he's going to kill everyone that did something bad to you. It's more of whatever you endured, God will pay you back and bless you even more when the time comes for blessing. Okay? So think about it this way. Just as there's a time to sow seeds, the seeds of injustice might be coming to you, but there will come a time the seeds will be sown. And in that time, God will pay you back even more, if that makes any sense. Right? So I say keep enduring, right? Keep praying, right? Keep that faith, and the time will come when God will pay you back tenfold, 30-fold, 50-fold, 100-fold, right? So yeah, your story is just like Joseph. It's just the same. And I want you too to really understand, yeah, just like Joseph, this is my story, and I should be someone who can endure, and I will become commendable in front of God. Okay? Thank you, Ichigo, for that awesome question. Did Yan, did she clarify the question? Okay. So here's a question from Yan. Okay, let's take a look at this question. It says, how can I stop comparing with others if my family keeps pushing me to be better than others? Okay, so that is something I know absolutely that happens in Asian families, especially. Why? Because I'm Asian. Okay, now for myself is, you always hear the parents like, meh, 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 meh. Like, my son went to Harvard, my daughter got straight A's, my daughter got this, and this. And it's true. How can I stop comparing with others if my family keeps pushing me to be better than others? Okay, so firstly, I want you to understand yourself. And I want you to first get that, to understand yourself first, as in, we're not, you are yourself, you're an individual, all raised in different conditions, and there's some things we're good at and some things we're not. And that's normal, right? That's normal. And if we first understand it and we're comfortable with ourselves first, then it makes things a lot easier to deal with outside things, right? If you're not even comfortable with yourself, then dealing with outside things is crazy stress. Because you're not even confident in yourself. And then everyone's saying that, why aren't you that good? Then it's even more stressful, right? What we have to realize is, number one is, you have to strengthen the core first. One story I'll tell you is, after Jesus died, there was 400 years where Christians were being killed because Christians are getting killed because they believe in Jesus. They're getting killed for it. But when they are so strong inside, right? So strong inside, what happens? That regardless of how bad or how strong it is, it's fine. No matter what comes from the outside. So what I'm telling you is, if you strengthen this, then whatever comes from the outside is okay. Just like those people, like, we're not even going through death. We're just going, parents saying this, why can't you be like your auntie? Why can't you be like your cousin? Right? Why can't you be like your brother's sister's mother's cousin's nephew's sister-in-law? Why can't you be like your cousin's 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 cousin? And they're always comparing you, right? And what happens is, just like those people who were martyrs, they could die. And no matter what the outside pressure was, they were strong enough. And what I'm telling you, Yan, is if you can strengthen the core first, understand this even better, then, right, then what happens is, you can handle the outside stresses. You can, right? And that's what I'm saying, strengthen the inside first, and then the outside things aren't even that strong. Okay. So, so this is from Goblin. Someone's name is Goblin? Interesting. Goblin. Does everyone know what a goblin is? Okay. Goblin. What I think Ichigo is saying is that she's getting something that's greater than what they deserve. Oh, let's go back to Ichigo's question. I might have read that wrong. Ichigo's question says, sometimes I feel like I got things that I don't deserve, and it makes my shoulder heavy. Oh. Ichigo, is that what you're saying? Sometimes I get, and it makes my shoulders feel heavy because it's more than I deserve. I think that's right? This is what Goblin is saying, right? Goblin is saying, is that what Ichigo is doing is she feels that she's getting more than she deserves, and it feels too burdensome on her. Okay? So I would love to get an example of something that's greater, but what I'm telling you this is sometimes we are blessed for what we have done, and sometimes we are blessed because of what the people above us have done. Let me give you an example, right? Let me give you a good example about this. If your parents work really, really hard, and then they become super, like mega, what's that movie called? Crazy Rich Asians? Is it Crazy Rich Asians? Think about it. Crazy Rich Asians, these children have done nothing to deserve the riches of their family. Zero, right? They've done nothing to deserve these riches, right? That's true. But it is a blessing that comes from people that love you, that are above you, right? And in this way too, what does it mean? It means that if you are blessed so much, one of the responsibilities we have is to bless others. Yeah, it's a good thing to bless other people. If you have so much grace and love, because for those of you who have faith, if you think about this very, very clearly, right? Think about this, right? Because I'm talking strictly to people who have faith right now. People of faith, think about this. How many of you should feel the same way as Ichigo because we received salvation? Like someone died on our behalf. There's no way we should feel that I deserve, you should have died on the cross for me. I deserve it. We should all feel like, oh my gosh, what should we do? And what Jesus said was, love each other, right? Share that love. Share that blessing that you've been giving, right? It also doesn't mean that just because you get more, like let's pretend it's money, just because you get so much money, so whatever you don't need, you cut that and just spread the wealth. That doesn't mean that either, right? If you've been blessed, overly blessed, you should be super thankful, but that burden you have on is like, oh, I don't know if I deserve this so much from you. And you know that, honestly, Ichigo, that's a great blessing, to be honest, because I wish I could be overblessed. I wish I could be overblessed. It's like, oh, I only deserve $10 an hour, but you gave me 70. Thank you. Right? I've been so happy that if I got more than that, right? When you receive much, and one of the things that we learn in the scriptures is, if you've been blessed much, you should bless others much. Share. Share in the blessings you receive. It could be through your joy. Thank you so much for giving me so much. So then you bless others and bless others and bless others, right? Asking, you can bless others, you can encourage them with this joy. You say, God, what do you want me to do with this? What do you want me to do with this extra blessings that you've given to me, right? The worst part is when it's underblessed. That's when it's worse, right? When you don't get as much as you deserve, yeah, that's even worse. What you have to look at is, now that you're overblessed, and I'm sure many people are very jealous and hating you right now, Ichigo, because you're overblessed, right? But bless others. Yeah. Get the burden off you. Bless other people, right? Give them blessings, encourage them, treat them, do things that you would never normally do, right? But you want to do it the proper way. It's like, you know what, God has blessed me so much, so here. God is blessing you now. God inspired me for this, right? So it's a very good thing that's happening to you, Ichigo, and I hope that you too can share the blessings with others. And when you do that, you're actually sharing that burden off of you, and you're actually helping people too. Okay? So I hope that that helps you guys out. If you have any more questions, you guys can put it into the chat room. Oh, it looks like there's one more question out there, right? There's one more question. It says, wow, they're typing it very slowly. When my sis's birthday, why do she get more lucky than Mila? I can't read, this is too slow, right? It says, where is this here? This is from who? What's the name? Catherine? It's Catherine. All right, Catherine. Catherine from where? KL. Catherine KL says, when it's my sister's birthday, why does she get more lucky than me? What does that mean? Like lucky in Chinese, does that mean like get more money? I'm not sure what it means. When is my sister's birthday, why does she get more luckier than me? And when it's my birthday, I get just a little bit lucky, but I'm still thankful about it. And honestly, Catherine, that's the best attitude to have. It is. It is the best attitude to have. And the one thing you have to understand is, it's a good way to talk about it, but as long as the attitude is good. Because remember what I said with even like Joseph's brothers? Joseph got more than his brothers, and everyone's like, why did they get more lucky than me? Why do they get blessed more? And the answer is, we don't know. Which means that you have to find out. We have to understand in your heart is, I don't know why. And that's why you can't judge it and say, oh, that's unfair, because we don't know if it's unfair or not. We don't, right? So, so it's about us understanding is we don't know the full situation. Why does she get more? Right? Why does she get more? And that's something that we don't know about. And that's why we can't get jealous until we really know the full situation. Like for instance, I don't know if this is true, because you don't know what your sister's doing all the time. What if your sister's always helping people all the time? Like really blessing and helping people so much. So when these people come to her birthday, they're inspired to give her a lot because she was always helping, encouraging, and doing a lot for her, right? What does it say here? There's more stuff coming on. Okay, right? So we don't really know the full situation. How do we know she didn't help them in something? How do we know that she hasn't blessed them in something? How do we know that they're not inspired by something either, right? So what we have to figure out is, the thing you have to understand in your mind is just we don't know. Why do they get more? And the answer is, it's a good question, but it's just the attitude behind it is, it's not so like, hey, why did they get more? It's more like, oh, I wonder why she got more. I wonder why. We're not sure. And you have to kind of get into the inquisitive mind, like, wow, that's interesting. She got more. I wonder what she did. Or I wonder what the difference is, right? Or what if like, we naturally are a little bit more quieter and we don't talk to people that much. So they kind of give us what is basic. But there's someone who's super social and they make friends with everyone. There's always different reasons that come out. Always different reasons, right? And that's why it's, before we get jealous or before we get a little bit upset or unfair, whatever it is, we have to think about, I really don't know the full situation, so I can't really judge the situation. Okay? So it looks like we have one more question left. One more question, and it says, this is from, I'm not sure who it's from, but you need no more questions? Okay, so no more questions today. That means this is the end of Lockdown Tuesday. I hope that everyone is having had a wonderful time together with us. The story of Joseph being a dreamer. I hope that you guys asked all the questions and got your answers, and if you didn't, keep writing down, because I can answer it after this finishes too. All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys again next week. Everyone, have a wonderful drink, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.